Hey guys, welcome back to Moreno Boxing TV. I'm your host Carlos Moreno, and today I want to talk to you guys about ambition, ego, and purposeless or selfless practice in boxing. I'm not going to take too long because I believe that we should be able to understand the big from the small and the small from the big. What do I mean by that? You don't need too much information. If you really delve deep into things, even a paragraph from a essay or 2 lines from a poem should be enough for you to understand many things from that. Having said that, you could read an entire book, and if you ain't ready, you might not learn anything from it. So it ain't about the quantity, it's about the quality. So let's get it out of the way. Listen up. So ambition in boxing. If we're talking about ambition from a Buddhist perspective or certain religious ideological viewpoints, we can say that ambition is not a great thing, because ambition can become intoxicating. The desire for more and the desire for power, the desire for riches and wealth, that can create unhappiness. It can create misery. It can create this need to want to be satisfied, and this kind of like emptiness that never gets filled, never gets satisfied quite enough. But when we're talking about boxing, okay, for those of you who are into the martial arts and Buddhism and stuff, boxing is what? It's a sport. It was originally called prize fighting. Why? You fight for a prize. So there is a place for ambition in boxing and in life. So when we're talking about boxing, boxers don't want to fight for free. They don't go out fighting for free. Yeah? But what you got to be mindful of is that ambition that you have to want to be a champion, to want to get the money, to want to be famous, cannot get in the way of you becoming a good boxer, diligently practicing and working hard. And how can that happen? That can happen when fighters begin to get a bit of success, they begin to get known a little bit, and then suddenly they feel like they've won a certain number of fights, so they feel that they're too good to practice, they're too good to listen to the coach, they're too good to go for a run. So they start skipping training days, they start skipping their training sessions, they stop studying other fighters, they start underestimating opponents, and you can get beat. Okay? So when you have ambition, it can also affect your ego. When we talk about ego in boxing, ego can get in the way of your own work. Ego is simply I. It's simply thinking about me, 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 me. That's what your ego does in boxing. Okay, I'll give you an example. So you guys know I train Mr. O'Hara Davis. The other day we were sparring. There was one round when he was sparring, he looked fantastic. He was moving, punching against a former world championship title challenger, a guy who fought for the world title. O'Hara sparred with him and he didn't get hit at all. The whole round, 3 minutes, he didn't get hit at all. He was landing shots, moving. But one thing I noticed that he was able to do for that whole 3 minutes, he completely lost self-awareness. I could see that he wasn't thinking about anything. He was just flowing. He wasn't even thinking about himself or his opponent. He was just doing what he does every day. He comes back to the corner, he goes to me, oh, next round, I think I'm going to stop him. I think I'm going to knock him out. And I was like, okay. I was thinking about it and I thought, okay, now his mind, his ego and his mind has gotten involved. Let's see what happens. He goes out next round, his breathing is heavier, he's grunting when he's throwing punches, he's trying to take the guy's head off, trying to knock him out. He's not flowing anymore. He's thinking too much. He's hesitating when he's throwing punches. He's getting hit a little bit. And why did that happen? That simply happened because his ego got in the way of his natural work. He wasn't flowing anymore. Now he was more aware of himself, the opponent, and ambition, and I want to look good, and I want to knock him out, I want to do this. So the ambition was too much. It was unnecessary. It was too much ambition to want to overdo it. Especially if you're just sparring, you don't need to knock everyone out in sparring. So we had that conversation. I'm going to upload the video, the conversation that I had with him about this. we had a little chat in the car. We recorded it, the discussion, so I'm going to upload it in a 3-part video soon. But I just wanted to share this video first. So when your ego gets in the way, that's when we say fighters get in the way of their own work. Your mind gets in the way of your own progress. Your ambition gets in the way of your own progress. You're too mindful, you're too desperate. Your ambition is too big. And you know, when I say that with a pinch of salt, I don't believe any ambition is too big so far as it doesn't affect your ego, so far as it doesn't provoke your ego to inflate, so far as it keeps you grounded and you still do the work and you're still paying attention to your technique and following strategy and working on your conditioning and working on your mind. If it's not affecting your ability, then yeah, that's all fine. The final thing I want to talk to you about, so we've got ambition, ego, and purposeless practice. This is why, to combat the effects of ambition and ego, we practice. When we practice, all you should be thinking about, when I say practice, I mean when you're training, when you go into the gym and you're practicing your craft, all you should be thinking about is giving 110%, 200%, giving everything you got mentally, physically, and spiritually to that practice. So you should have no ambition for, I want to do this and I want to win that, and you should have no ego of, oh, I want to do it like this, I want to do it like that. All you should be doing is being focused and ensuring that you give 100% in that practice. Whether it's an hour, 2 hours, it's like a meditation. Remove yourself from the equation. Get out of your own way and let it do what it do. Let it do what it do. Whatever it is, let it do what it do, baby. Get out of your own way. Trust the process. Do the work. Put in the miles when you're running. Hit that bag. Lose yourself in the work. Work so much that you ain't got time when you're training. Train so hard. Stay so focused. You ain't got time to think about yourself. You ain't got time to think about what you're going to eat when you finish training. You ain't got time to think about your next fight that's coming up. You ain't got time to think about how much money you're getting paid for the fight. You ain't got time to think about your ego. You ain't got time to think about your ambition. That's how you humble yourself, through sheer hard work. That's when we're talking about putting the iron in the fire and forging it. Giving yourself to the process, giving yourself to the hardship, giving yourself to the struggle, that it will make a champion out of you without you needing to do anything but trust. So that's a little message for you guys. You know what it is. Mr. Boxing Samurai, Mr. Moreno Boxing, Mr. Carlos Moreno, you know when it's at. This is all about the mind. Yeah, so this series is all about the mind and what it can do. And like I say now, let it do what it do. Peace.